challenging. So I get why that is. All right, so shifting into our primary sport, volleyball. Talking about women's college volleyball right now. We want to bring more awareness to what's happening in the world of volleyball. Volleyball is the #1 growing sport in terms of beach volleyball right now in the NCAA. It's doing nothing but growing from a professional standpoint as well as a college standpoint for the indoor, especially on the women's side. And so volleyball, it doesn't only pay benefit to us, becoming bigger and bigger, but also benefit to the rest of the world, seeing the excitement behind it, seeing how big of a sport it is, and seeing how well it's liked once people get their butts in the seats. And volleyball's got to get on TV more often for sure. And it has been. College volleyball I'm seeing more frequently on ESPN. I'm seeing more frequently, but it's got to continue to build from the pro to the college to the youth. So with college volleyball right now, for those who don't know, Pitt is undefeated, and they are absolutely going on a tear right now. Where I have connections to Pitt, there's a young lady who I train named Ayanna Watson who's committed to Pitt, and they've been to the last couple Final Fours. There's a girl right now who's from local who went to Marymount High School named Tori Stafford who's starting at Pitt. They've got a girl named Olivia Babcock who was the opposite for a girl who I was coaching last year on her club team. And just watching these girls, I watched them a lot in high school and club, make that transition to now being the big dogs, as it pertains to college is really impressive. It's really cool to see. Their head coach was actually at Hawaii when I first went to school there. Before leaving to get over to the women's game. And so a lot of personal connections, a lot of deep roots in the volleyball world tends to be small in some ways. Everybody knows everybody. But what are your feelings right now on college volleyball? What's happening with Pitt? What's happening in the sport in general?
I think it's just growing. I think everybody's kind of starting to see it. I think from the Olympics, I think to trying to create the program now, the college game, I think it's just getting bigger and bigger. And once again, I said before, we just got to put it on the long track. We got to think of growing volleyball as the MLS, growing it out. They used to have the Galaxy, they add the Galaxy, and then they add LAFC. We got 2 soccer teams in Los Angeles now, and I think we got to kind of have that same slow burn with volleyball as well. But I think everybody's starting to see it, and I think they keep adding more rules to make the game faster. So shortening the points and taking away some of the netting calls that they were making before and taking away the doubling that they were calling. And I think those things make it faster and make it more entertaining. But nobody really knows about how volleyball is until you sit in on a college match, until you sit in on a pro match. And we get that all the time. You talk to the parents, and the parents are like, yeah, I've seen it, or other people are like, yeah, I've seen it on TV, but it's and then they get in the real game and they're like, this is fast. They realize how fast it is, how fast people are moving, how fast the ball is moving, and they're like, oh, okay, this is super entertaining. I see why people are spending so much time watching. And I mean, even Pitt, Pitt's got everybody's athletic. It's crazy. They remind me very much of kind of those Texas teams where everybody's big and athletic, and I believe it's Babcock, the opposite, right? I just was watching, I was on my Instagram, I was like, who is this person just, stuffing people and literally just, housing people, regularly and making it look easy. And that's hard to stop, especially if you got big opposite versus outside hitter. And outside hitter is the main position, especially in women's volleyball, and just blocking people off the court. And she's doing it out of the back row.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive what they're doing, and Pitt seems to have recruiting classes who are coming up who you're not going to see much change in that. They've done a really great job building a culture over there. But like you said, in volleyball right now, the speed of it, the strength of it, the athleticism, people really like to see that once they see it in person. It just hasn't been one of the primary big sports in pro, and everything's a trickle down in America, right? If NFL, MLB, and NBA hold the keys, everything's going to trickle down from there. But as tennis has become more popular, golf has become more popular, gymnastics has become more popular, there's a trickle down. And so volleyball is right up here on deck to be able to get more viewership, more fans, and more opportunities. So the indoor game, it brings more opportunities. It's more players. It's more of a team. It's bigger. It's like old school. It's school versus school, competition versus competition. So a lot of people wonder, why is the beach game not growing as well? Because people have attachments to their cities. People have attachments to their states. People have attachments to large groups. So we get that from things like we've talked about, NFL. Oh, I'm a Chicago Bears fan. Somebody might not even know 3 players' names in the Chicago Bears, but they know they're a Chicago Bears fan. Like you and I, we're Dallas Cowboys fans. We probably couldn't name more than 7 people on the roster right now, but you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. So beach volleyball gets tricky because you have to know the individuals, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to know the name Phil Dahlhauser, Todd Rogers.
Yeah.
You have to know Karch Garai and Ken Steffes.
Yeah.
You have to know Misty May and Carrie Walsh,
Yeah.
or April Ross and whoever it happens to be. But right now, you have a situation where they're trying in beach volleyball to get this team thing going, and the AVP is trying to get like, oh, we have cities, which is smart.
Yeah.
That's the concept that works in other sports. So the same thing with this pro volleyball league. They're starting to get, okay, this city's got this team, the Vegas Thrill, the San Diego this, the Texas that.
Yeah.
If you have that, you give yourself the best opportunity to grow because the state will come represent. They'll say, hey, oh, this is our Texas team? Yeah, we'll lock in with you guys. Oh, it's San Diego team, we'll lock in with you guys, as opposed to needing to know one individual. And all it takes is one individual to get hurt or get injured or retire or play badly to lose the interest in that.
Yeah, you lose
Versus
everything.
if you have a state or a city that you can go with, it's like, hey, we're repping no matter what. And why indoor volleyball continues to kill it is because, yes, there's college, which already has all these teams and organizations, and people love their school. Yeah. Oh, I went to Stanford. Stanford volleyball is killing it. Oh, I went to Pitt. I hear Pitt volleyball is killing it. I could represent. I could wear a shirt type of situation.
Sit in on it.
But volleyball continuing to build, this is the way. Like what's happening right now. It's got to get on TV. That's the primary thing. People are not just going to always go out to matches. They have to be able to digest it from their phones, from their TVs, from their tablets. And then there has to be players who people know and recognize. And that's the thing that really hasn't been built yet in college volleyball. Volleyball players know volleyball players, but you couldn't ask a random Joe Schmo on the street, like, who are the top 2 college volleyball players right now?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't know, you know?
And also, I mean, it's finally kicked off with social media, but you still can't name too many volleyball players who have over 100,000 followers on Instagram. Right. And you can name a ton of other players in pro sports who have like 1 million.
Right.
So it's like the social media game really has to come up. And I think it's been coming up. There's more social media managers at schools now. There's more people taking video and taking pictures to where they can post. Similar to kind of like the Long Beach State thing where the men's squad is like, they got video for everything now. And so I think it just needs to grow where you're seeing more athletes that are getting to that higher follower count because then other people start to see it and they want to get involved.
For sure, for sure. And everything's trickle down, like we said. It's pro. When people get that, oh, the pros are doing it, they're jumping, they're running, they're moving. Yeah, I want to do that. How do I get there? Oh, I got to play college?
Yeah.
Okay, how do I start to like set my thing to go to college? Parents ingrained it in their head, kids ingrained it in their head, programs ingrained in their head. Hey, we're trying to get these kids to the next level.
Yeah.
And then like from there, it trickles back to the clubs. And that's where volleyball right now, and transparency is at a little bit of a standstill. The training level in clubs, the seriousness in clubs, like the push to make sure athletes understand the education of how to become a pro is not there. So there's only a couple places where you're like, hey, we have kids who've gone to play pro. Here's who they are. Here's how you get in touch. Here's how you watch them. Here's how you learn their path. That's not really a thing because people kind of poo-poo volleyball in the club space. Like we poo-poo our own sport a lot of time. There's not a lot of clubs where you're going and people are like, you could become a pro. You could get paid to do this.
Yeah.
If you do A, B, C,
Yeah.
and that's like some of the education you and I have to start to bring. As people who have played pro, we've learned how to be able to have a lifestyle based around the sport. We've learned how to help athletes get to that level. A lot of it is responsibility falling on us to push that narrative of, yo, you can become a pro. I was talking to a boy yesterday who literally plays on the number 1 17 team in the country. Like, he's got the number 1 outside hitter in the country on his team, and he's a year down. He's got the number 1 opposite. He's the backup setter. And I'm saying to him, like, hey, you could go play at this level. He's like, no, I'm too short. No, I'm not going to be able to. And I'm like, you're talking to a person who does this all day. Like, I know what it looks like, you know. But that confidence to be able to go, oh, yeah, this is what I'm pursuing. This is what I'm going for. This is what I'm going to do. Like, and he's in the best area to do it. Like, imagine the people elsewhere in the country who aren't in the best area, girls and boys.
Yeah, you're not in the right spot.
So having the confidence and having the push and having the understanding of how do I actually make this happen, that's the education that not only needs to come out, it has to get pushed. Because there's some people out there who have it, and there are some people out there who are giving it out. You know, there's some great pages out there to follow, but ultimately, the biggest thing is it's got to be a whole plethora of people who believe it and push it.
I just don't think that there's enough people who know.
Exactly.
Right? There's not a lot of people who know, like, how to go and get recruited and how to get into college and how the entire process is set up. Right. Like, they have no clue. Like, I talked to a ton of, they're like, I don't know how I'm going to go to college and play. And I'm like, this is how it's done.
Right.
Right. And I just don't think that there's information about that. But, or then there's the other side where everybody thinks they're going to go D1.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Like, please take that out of your head. Like, I think there's like maybe a less than 5% chance that you're going to go D1 out of high school.
Right.
So I think it's just understanding that you can get an opportunity, but you need to take the opportunity that's given to you, whether that's D2, whether that's D3, whether that's NAIA, whether that's community college. Like, go and take whatever opportunity you get and make sure that you push and you maximize that opportunity so you can do more. And once again, like, we're proof you can come out of community college and go play pro, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it may be rare, but if you put in the work, you can get an opportunity.
For sure. 100%. So I like that part that you said about, basically getting in where you fit in. It's like too many people decide on D1, like you said, and to them there's that glass ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And once they hit it,
Yeah.
it's done. Like, as opposed to me, I was coming out like, yeah, I'm going to play D1.
Yeah.
I'm turning down these other offers. And I went to my D1 and I got cut. And fortunately, an opportunity came up, and that's where you and I met.
Yeah.
That first day I came, at Long Beach City College, and then everything just ramped up from there. But again, we had the fortune of having some people who were willing to show us the ropes.
Yeah.
We had to figure out a lot of it on our own. Getting out to the beach, doing extra reps, extra open gyms. We were running all over the map, everywhere, doing our thing. But we also had the Randy Tutorps, the Trevor Johnsons. We had our college coaches. For you, the Shawns, and who's your other college coach?
I had Ryan McGuire.
Yeah, Ryan, and then for me, like Sproul and Niffin, and progressing that on, to our pro opportunities. So you have to be willing to take in the information. The people now, they have the best opportunity because social media has it all for them. The internet and social media has all the information. You just have to be willing to hunt it down. You just have to be willing to hunt it down. Like, social media was not popping like this when you and I were coming up. Like, it was not popping like this.
I wish. And on top of that, athletes, like, if they're just able to get any type of video and just, like, put it on social media, put it on YouTube.
And that's the thing.
Like, you can get recruited like that.
That's the thing.
So easy.
I get these kids who, like, their parents will, like, try to take your video, which I'd like to see kids take more ownership of it, get themselves a tripod, set it up, learn how to maneuver it. Mm-hmm. But they'll have their parents, taking video, and the kids will be like, stop videoing me. And I like snap at them, like, you don't understand the value.
Yeah.
You don't understand the value that person is about to give you, and you're like poo-pooing it.
Yeah, you need a video.
Yeah, like, there's nothing like the ability to be able to do it, from home. People now can, like, build complete brands or whatever the case. But nonetheless, then there's nothing like attaching yourself to a situation where it's already known, because that's also the issue is people right now try to do it DIY everything.
Yeah.
And whether they're a person in business, they're a person in sports, if they're a person in like the youth sector or the adult sector, because everybody thinks they can do it on their own, and they wonder why like they can't get the steam, they can't get it flowing, they can't get it rolling. It's like you have to be with somebody who already understands how to do it, or you have to be with somebody who understands how you guys are going to do it together, type of situation. So that's the situation with volleyball. Rankings right now, it's interesting. Again, continuing to educate. Let's take a look at where we are volleyball rankings right now. Pitt is number 1, unanimous. You got Nebraska number 2, Penn State, Louisville, Stanford, Creighton, Texas, Kansas, Wisconsin, Purdue, Oregon, Kentucky, Arizona State, Minnesota, and SMU. That rounds out the top 15, followed by USC, TCU, Baylor, Florida, Georgia Tech, finishing out that top 20. So women's volleyball, there's a big race right now to try to get the number 1 spot. Obviously, Pitt's holding it down.
Yeah.
Some of the blue blood schools you normally see there, Texas, Stanford, schools like that, they're in the mix. But
Nebraska, Wisconsin.
Yeah, exactly. Nebraska, Wisconsin, they're in the mix. But
Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State's number
I think
3 right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Penn State.
So it's going to be interesting how it all shakes out. But college volleyball, who do you got in the Final Four, if you had to say?
I got my usuals. Wisconsin and Nebraska, they're always in the mix. They're huge. Obviously, Pitt will be in there, but I'm always interested to see what Penn State's going to do, because Penn State had the coaching turnover a few years. Russ Rose left, and it's nice to see them like back up, because everybody remembers how good Penn State was when Russ Rose was
back
there.
when they had the Megan Hodges of the world, Alicia Glass, and like they were doing it.
They were crazy.
They were doing it. Them rivalries with Stanford and Penn State, like they were doing it. Texas.
They were untouchable.
Yeah. So my Final Four, I'm gonna go with Pitt. I'm gonna go with Nebraska. I'm gonna go with Stanford sneaking in there. Cammy Minor.
Dude, they got Tim Duncan's daughter on the team, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's hard to go against Texas. It's hard to go against Texas.
Big Tex.
All right, I got Pitt, Nebraska, Penn State, Stanford. That's what I'm going with.
Okay.
I don't even know if that can work out based on like the brackets and how the leagues work,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm going with.
I'm with it.
So we'll find out. All right.